Okay. So our next section will be on repression and conflict. Okay, so in the book it says, Brewer and Freud put forth a number of the basic tenets of psychoanalysis in their book Studies on Hysteria. They noted that hysteria is caused by a traumatic experience that is not allowed adequate expression and therefore manifests itself in physical symptoms. Therefore, symptoms could be taken as symbolic representations of an underlying traumatic experience that is no longer consciously available to the patient. Because such experience is traumatic, it is repressed, that is, actively held in the unconscious, because to ponder it would provoke anxiety. So for the therapist, resistance is a good sign that they're on the right track to pointing out the trauma. Now, to give the definition for repression, again, we would have to check the glossary because the actual definition isn't listed when the term is introduced. So repression is defined as the holding of traumatic memories in the unconscious mind because pondering them consciously would cause too much anxiety. So to give an example of repression in this case, when you hold a traumatic memory, basically it's like bottling up your emotions. If something bad happens and you're upset about it and you don't talk about it, and you've experienced a trauma because of it where you become anxious and you resist talking about it, that's repression. Whereas a healthy response would be to let it out and get it all out there and move past it once you've gotten it all out there. And the way the concept of conflict relates to repression is that it's a potential cause of repression. And the reason why conflict causes repression is because, according to Freud, what conflict is the tendency to both want to do something wrong, but also want to avoid it. So you have a basic desire to do something that you consider wrong, but you can't reconcile that desire with the idea that it is wrong, so you repress that desire. And a lot of the time in modern culture, people use the word repression to relate to, for example, same-sex relationships where people have these emotions where they're attracted to the same sex, but because of the way our culture can view homosexuality as being evil, they're forced to repress them, which you may or may not agree with. But that's just one example of how repression is caused by conflict. So the most fundamental aspect of Freud's theory is that pretty much everything happens because of unconscious motivations. And to define that, again, we need to go to the glossary. So let me turn to that. And unconscious motivation is a cause of our behavior of which we are unaware. And that could be a trauma, that could be a repressed memory, that could be any number of things that we don't actually think about, but is happening in our mind that makes us behave the way we do. Okay.